Hi guys, so we're up here in New Hampshire out on the trails. First spring ride of the year up in the lovely state of New Hampshire, and I thought I'd stop and just talk a little bit about my 2023 KLX300. So far I've been really enjoying this bike. I got about 600 miles on it, and you know, maybe a little bit about why I chose this over the competition, which I think we all know is the Honda CRF300L, which in its own right is a beautiful machine also. Very comparable to this. It's got a lot of the same traits, a lot of the same specs. Just, it's very similar. Power delivery, all that stuff. Some of the negatives about this bike would be, number one, the foot pegs are a joke on this KLX. I had to put IMS super stock pegs on it, and these are awesome. Some people don't like the angle. I have never noticed a problem with it. I like them a lot. But yeah, the stock pegs are a joke. One of the nice things about this bike and the Honda, they both have low seat heights. Great bike for a beginner, someone who's vertically challenged. And they also both have a very light feel to it. I say both because I do have a little bit of experience with the Honda. I did test drive it. I've been around it a lot. It's a beautiful bike. Yeah, this bike here comes in two colors schemes. It's traditional green, and you can also get it in camouflage. I went with the traditional green. I like the old school look. I love the traditional green from Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. It does have that older look to it, especially when you put it up against the Honda. The Honda's gorgeous. They did a really nice job with that bike. It looks beautiful. Also, the Honda's gauge is superior to this one as far as information offered. This one does not have a, I'll show you real quick. This one does not have a fuel gauge, which, whatever. I wish it did, but it doesn't, so it is what it is. Let's see, it has a clock, RPMs, odometer, trip 1, trip 2. Down here it's got a engine heat. There's your only fuel indicator right there. It tells you if you're getting low. And then the radiator fluid, I believe, overheating, high beam, and directional, and a neutral light, obviously. The Honda has a gas gauge on it, so that's a big plus for that. The tires on this bike are definitely straight oriented. This type of trail here is about the maximum I would take it on with these tires. I really want to get a more aggressive pair of tires. What I did do with this bike is I put a Delcovic aftermarket slip-on exhaust, and I also put the KX200 snorkel in it. And what I was trying to accomplish by doing that is just give it a little more low-end, mid-range power, which it did. It gave it a little more, and I feel like the suspension can definitely handle it. Both bikes take approximately 2 gallons of fuel. The Honda does have a little bit more low-end power stock. It also is only offered in red, the Honda, but again, it's beautiful. They really hit that one out of the park with the Honda. So, why did I buy this bike over the Honda, you ask? I got one word: suspension. The Honda has non-adjustable suspension on both ends. Now, yes, you could change the viscosity of the oil in the forks, and that would change it a little bit, make it a little bit firmer. I don't want to have to do that. The front shocks on the KLX have rebound dampening, preload, and compression dampening. So it's going to handle better at higher speeds in the bump than the Honda does. The KLX forks have rebound dampening. The Honda has none. The shock out back has rebound dampening, preload, and compression dampening. It handles the bumps at speed much better on the trail than the Honda does. Both bikes are roughly 280, 285 without fuel. So that's a wash. Both bikes have non-LED lighting. They may have changed that for 2024, 25, I'm not sure. So yeah, the main reason I bought this bike, in a word, is suspension. I was just afraid of that soft Honda suspension on the trails. Like I said, I have ridden it, and I've sat on it a number of times comparing it, and it's just like sitting on a marshmallow. It's just not going to cut it for me. And I'm only 185 fully dressed, and it was had a lot to be desired. This thing, I can actually hit the small chop, the small bumps, at, you know, relatively decent speed, maybe 30 miles per hour, no problem. Not much more than that, but that's fine for what it's made for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a section where there's whoops and just get on it a little bit and show you guys how it does. It does a pretty decent job of it. There's 35. These bumps are pretty good. It's a little sandy too. Here's some bigger ones. There we go. This is about perfect right here. Alright, so you guys got the idea. A couple of those bumps were a little strong for it, but it did well. I was ripping right through 30, 35 miles per hour, no problem. You just got to know the bike's limits. Whew.